A $1.4 billion mega project is causing tension between two great nations, China and Sri Lanka. China's ingenuity and ambition may be raising a lot of questions and suspicion in the minds of the Sri Lankan people, who found out that the mega project being constructed for Sri Lanka is actually funded by China. What is this contract all about? What is China's role in this project? And what does Sri Lanka stand to benefit from this partnership? Sri Lanka's need to advance economic growth and make the nation a business hub led to the partnership between the Sri Lankan president, Gotabaya Rajapaksa, and the president of China, Xi Jinping. In 2014, both leaders signed an agreement to build a massive new city, the port city Colombo in Sri Lanka, with a price tag of $1.4 billion. The project was designed to open Sri Lanka to commerce, bring economic development, and expand residential opportunities in the region. This new project was to be achieved through land reclamation. About 2 square kilometers of the Indian Ocean was targeted for land reclamation. Construction began with dredging more than 60 cubic meters of sand and rocks to create an artificial extension of land in the middle of the sea, such as those seen in the early stages of Dubai's construction of Palm Islands and other great reclamation projects. However, there was a problem. Dredging and piling of soil into the ocean is one practice that disrupts the natural ecosystem of the environment, causing local species to migrate, and environmentalists were vehemently against the project. In 2015, the construction of the artificial island was paused for 1 full year for proper assessment of environmental impact. A year later, the sand piling activities continued and took 5 years to construct a massive reclaimed land space that is ready for building. As the landmass was concluded in 2019, something else happened that paused things for a while. Tension and suspicion arose when Sri Lankan citizens found out that 100% of the funding was from China. This led to major pushback and controversies that China was buying its way or trying to secure a Chinese territory, as well as encroach on Sri Lankan soil and its citizens' rights. A major reason why the port city project was suspended was because of the fall of the Rajapaksa government, related to the sovereignty of Sri Lanka, as well as the environmental issues that came with the dredging process. Despite China's involvement with the project, construction continued a few months later. So how come the protest didn't last? It's probably because Sri Lanka's ambition could not be dampened by China's involvement in the project. There's a lot more to the story than meets the eye. Even with the effects of climate change and rising sea levels, Sri Lanka still decided to go through with the artificial island project, ignoring the lessons learned from Palm Jumeirah, Dubai's sinking island. This is because, unlike Dubai, where artificial islands are built for tourism purposes, Sri Lanka's artificial island is being developed so as to gain access to the Silk Road. What exactly is the Silk Road, and what impact does it have on the Sri Lankan economy? The Silk Road is a network of trade routes, both land and sea, running all the way from Asia to the Mediterranean Sea. The route derives its name from the historical trade of silk, which was highly lucrative from far back as the 2nd century. With China controlling a major port, they could become the most dominant nation within the region of trade. Sri Lanka would have access to the trade route and be able to conduct business on and off shores, which would greatly improve their economy. The trade made on the Silk Road constitutes a major part of China's economy, which is why China has invested billions in the rebuilding of the route, as this would likely yield significant profits in the future. The construction of Sri Lanka's port city Colombo is part of China's efforts to rebuild the trade route. What are the conditions behind China's funding of the port city project? The artificial island is about 660 acres, and 308 acres will belong to the Sri Lankan government, while 116 hectares will be allocated to China Communications Construction Company for funding the project, while 91 hectares will be reserved for public spaces. This trade is done in the hope that the trade route would bring economic benefits and both nations can reap the fruits of their investments. The first phase of the project was set for completion in 2022, while the rest is scheduled to launch in 2041. This is adequate time for both countries to deliberate on matters relating to the environment, as well as the politics of trade. What are the criticisms faced in this project? There are gray areas in the agreement between China and Sri Lanka as regards the project. First, let's address the environmental impact of the project. Environmentalists have complained that the impact of the construction would be far greater than whatever economic benefits that the government hopes to achieve. The disruption of marine habitat will not only alter the natural existence of certain species of aquatic life, but will also harm the livelihoods of locals whose sole source of livelihood is fishing. The project passed through rigorous migration measures and standards set by the Sri Lanka Central Environmental Authority, CEA. Other groups also raised concerns on the dangers of giving out ownership rights of Sri Lankan land to China. These concerns are associated with security and the sovereignty of the region. Without losing track of what really matters, here's what Sri Lanka will gain from this mega project. A fully funded, transformative endeavor that will not only create thousands of jobs for its citizens, but will expand residential areas, improve tourism, enable Sri Lanka to join the Silk Road trade route that is likely to lead to significant economic growth. The reclaimed artificial island will feature a well-structured region, designed with the finest technology and powered with sustainable energy. It will host offices, businesses, parks, residential areas, hotels, and others. The urban settlement will cater to more than 880,000 residents and will provide adequate means of transportation for up to 250,000 commuters on a daily basis. It will form an eco-friendly city that will promote green energy, public parks for walking and cycling, and zero reliance on carbon-based forms of energy. There is always that concern about building on water as well as issues faced by other countries currently suffering from engineering oversight while building on reclaimed lands. However, the developers are paying attention to sustainability and conducting adequate tests to ensure that all materials used stand the test of time. Despite the controversies surrounding the project, it heralds a new dawn of development that will bolster innovation and lean towards a brighter future. What are your thoughts on China funding the Port City Colombo project? Let us know in the comments. We observed that only a few of our viewers are subscribed, so kindly subscribe and turn on notifications so that we can continue to provide you with the latest update on all this luxury. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.